And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Have you ever read the story of the Ugly Duckling? Or any story of someone who starts out at the bottom and comes to the top? That's almost how I feel about this game here, because Alien Frontiers is a game that a small-time publisher with a small-time game made this game, and now this game is fantastic. Certainly one of the best games of 2010. Has a science fiction theme, space theme that works, that makes sense. The game is fun, it's good, and has top-notch production values. That's a lot of things to say. That's a lot of a strong statement about the game, I think. So let's take a look at it and see if I'm right. Here's the board, which is a moon orbiting an undetermined planet, and you're colonizing this moon and sending things up there. You're mining the moon, and you're trying to control the different regions on the moon, which incidentally are all named after famous science fiction authors, which I thought was pretty cool. Players start with 3 ships. They don't look like your typical spaceships. They look like dice, and that's what they are, 6-sided dice. And you're going to be using these dice, rolling them each turn, and then whatever you roll, placing it in the different areas on the board to get different resources or to do different things. For example, in the lunar mine, I can place a die there and take 1 ore. Well, that's pretty easy. But every die that's placed there has to be equal to or higher than the die that's already there, including other players' dice. So if the red player wants to put one there now, he has to put out a 6, because that's the highest number that's there. And your dice aren't removed until the beginning of your next turn, so your dice will be there to annoy the other players throughout the whole time. So not only can you get a resource, you can be a pain in the neck to other players. You can then use that ore up here, and you can, well, up here, I'm sorry, you can get energy, which is easier than ore. You put a die there, and you simply get half of whatever it shows on a die, energy. So if I put a 6 there, I'll get 3 energy, which are little wooden discs like this. I can go over to the orbital market and convert energy into ore. And why do I need all this energy and ore? Well, a lot of it is down here, a colony constructor. If I ever get 3 ore, and I roll 3 numbers that are the same, doesn't matter what those numbers are, 2, 2, and 2 works fine. I can pay 3 ore and place a colony anywhere on the planet of my color. And if I don't ever roll 3 in a row or have 3 ore, I can go the old-fashioned route, which is put a die of any number here and put one of my colonies on this track here. And each time I put a die there, this moves over 1 space. When it gets over here, I can pay 1 energy and 1 ore, which is much cheaper, and put it out on an area on the planet. Or if I'm really crazy, I can go to the terraforming station, pay, with a natural 6, put a 6 there, pay 1 iron, pay 1 ore, 1 energy, and put a colony out on the planet. But when I do that, the die is lost. How do I get more dice? Down here in the shipyard. If I ever roll doubles and then pay 1 plus 1 for I can get a 4th ship, 2 plus 2, get a 5th ship, 3 plus 3, get a 6th ship. The more ships, the more dice you have. Someone else irritating you? Well, there's different ways to handle that. You can go to the Raiders Outpost. If you get a straight, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, you can put it there and steal up to 4 resources or a card from another player. What cards am I talking about? Well, up here in the Alien Artifact, you can put dice that are a total of 7 or more, and you can then get these special cards. Take a look at some of these cards. They're pretty neat. Each of these cards usually has 2 abilities that players can get. Like, for example, here, I can pay energy to re-roll any quantity of my unplayed ships. So if I have this in front of me, I can pay energy and re-roll my dice to get the numbers I want. Or I can review the discard pile and then discard this card to claim 1 discarded card. So if I want a different kind of ability, I can. The game is not just about getting these different cards, though, and using them sometimes on other players. You can destroy their ships and such, but it's about colonizing. When you colonize, you get 1 point. If you have the most ships in an area, which includes 1, you get the card for that area, which will give you a special ability. For example, this one says, advance your colony 1 extra level when you place 2 or more ships on the colonist hub. And what I really like about this game is how the card comes from the Asimov crater here, and the card affects here, the Colonist Hub. There's a line that shows that it's connected. The icons in this game, everything is very well laid out. The rules are very well outlined. This game is very easy to understand. There's no questions. I don't know that they'll ever need a fact. It just all works together. Over here, next to the board is a score track. Every time you get a colony, you get a point. If you have the most in an area, you get another point. And so you'll see, you can watch players' points. This is very similar to Settlers of Catan. And you can keep track of that, because once someone puts out their last colony, whoever has the most points at that point in time is the winner. There's a few cards that give points. There's an extra positron field, which you can stick in a territory that makes that territory worth an extra point. But basically, you just keep playing until someone gets all their colonies out. It's very simple, very easy, but very interactive, since you can steal stuff, destroy other players' ships, stop them from stealing stuff, stop them from destroying your ships, go back and forth. You know, we'll look at where's the best place to put dice. You might think that highest numbers matter the most, but for example, up here in the orbital market, you want to get as low numbers as possible, because then it's cheaper to change energy into ore. So it's a neat. It all works together really well, and it really feels like a space game. Does it seem like I'm raving about this game? And maybe I am, but I really enjoyed it. It was like a breath of fresh air. There's not too many absolutely new things here. Putting dice out to claim stuff has been done in games like Kingsburg, but this one felt different, especially with the high level of interaction in the game and the fact that the space theme felt right. You watch the points, there's not wild swings. You can take an area from somebody else, but you usually do that at the cost of not getting an extra point yourself. And so there's back and forth. The players are going back and forth, talking about how they're going to do the different things to each other. You can stop people, like I said, from stealing your stuff. And there's some trash talking, and it has this retro 50s science fiction theme, and it's nice. Everything feels good. Cards, high quality. Dice, good quality. The board, superb artwork. It's a very good product. The print run is not that great, so if you're watching this review and you think you want to be interested, I recommend you get it now, because there's not many left. Great, great game.